Betty, listening on KBCS in Renton, Washington. Hey, Betty, what's on your mind today?
Hi, Thom. Thank you so much. I love your program. Yesterday, I had an interesting incident in a dollar store. I was right up at the stand, getting ready to make my purchase, and I had been chatting with a girl behind me saying, make sure you vote. I got my ballot in, and so on. And so then I thought I would say that to the young man that was waiting on me as well. He said, oh, yeah. He says, I can vote in. I'm a resident in California and the state of Washington, and I can vote I'm voting in both states. I said, what? You can't do that. He said, oh, yes, I can. He said, I got a phone call. If I understood him correctly, Thom, he said he got it from California, and somebody guided him through on the phone, and they validated who he was, etc. And I thought, oh my God, what in the world?
This guy's going to show up in an Adam Keefe.
But what in the world?
This guy's going to show up in one of James O'Keefe's videos. I mean, it sounds like he's being set up.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would go back and tell him, if you vote in 2 states, depending on the state, you're looking at anywhere from 2 to 15 years in prison, anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 in fines, depending on the state, and they will come after you. And there are people right now looking for people who are in a position where they can vote in 2 states, which, by the way, is a lot of people. Most of us, when we move from state to state, which the average is every 7 years. The average American moves every 7 years. And most people, when they move from state to state, don't bother to tell the state that they left that they're no longer there. And so the states, if you don't vote in a couple of elections in a row, they purge you from the votes, from the voter rolls, which is, a normal and routine thing. But, for a while, many of us, roughly, 1 out of 7 of us is registered in 2 states. And if somebody takes advantage of that registration in 2 states, that's a crime. That's a major crime. And it's what the Republicans right now are desperately looking for examples of. So that kid needs to...
He was voting Democrat, I'm sure, because I was talking about the minimum wage, because I always say to these young people, I hope you're voting for the the new...
The only people...
minimum wage.
Yeah, the only people that I can think of who would contact a Democratic-leaning voter and encourage them to illegally vote in 2 different states are people who are trying to set them up for an arrest and, frankly, more likely to set them up for a very high-profile arrest with cameras and cops and perp walks. And now we've got proof of double voting.
Oh my God!
I mean, you need to get down to that store, Betty, and
over the radio, because I thought, oh, that's going to support Trump. Ridiculous.
Oh, of course. Don't just warn this kid. Try to find out if he can get his phone records, if he can find out who it was who called him, if he can get the phone number of who called him. You want to get that information to one of the election protection people. You're in Washington State. I would call the Secretary of State's office. Actually, I'd start with the Democratic Party. Start with your local Democratic Party. Tell them what's going on. Tell them, what I said, what I think is going on, and ask them if they want to pursue this and, take it from there. But that guy needs to get some information, because he's being set up, and he might be being set up to go to prison. And that's a terrible thing. Betty, thanks a lot for the call. And thanks for listening to KBCS. We'll be back. It's 8 minutes before the hour.